Still coming in. I love the promptness on everybody. Thank you. Thank you first off, Layla, for
An RSVP that didn't work, so I'm wondering if other people got one that didn't work.
oh, let me see. I mean, we're up to 20 participants and we're still adding. So which one did
I don't, let me see where it was.
we can try to figure that out?
I'll send it to you, Candace.
Okay, thank you, Roberta.
I mean, when I got in, it's asking me to vote, on the measures. It's like very strange.
Huh.
Let's see.
Um, so we are at 21 participants and just want to be mindful of everybody's time and going on to straight onto this important topic that Layla will be presenting to us. I did want to just go out and give you guys a few updates. We've got our membership committee during the summer months and now leading up to the fall have really been busy. So they have, we will be at the longest table which will be October 5th. We will have a table there, so look out for us. Please come by, say hello. If we have an extra seat, we'll figure that out. Um, also, our next general membership meeting, we are looking for a space. We know what's going on with NYCHA. There's a lot, and the Elliott Chelsea or the guild will be Hudson Guild will be knocked down, is to propose to be knocked down first. So we are looking for a space still. Um, if anybody has any connections, our general membership meetings are the fourth Thursday of the month at 6:30. If you know of a space, please contact us and let myself know. It would really be very much appreciated. Um, and then also, I just want to do a reminder. The October 21st or October 25th is the first day for early voting. And I know our district leaders are going to be wanting us to be out there and canvassing for our people and being out there by the election. So there will be emails that'll be sent out soon and getting you and looking out for those dates and times. And the last date I do have for you guys, September 30th, I believe it's community boards next meeting. It is uptown. It is, like all of our community boards, it is important for us to show up. And, I again, this community of Chelsea has really your voices have been really loud and I'm amazed by all of you guys and yes. So I'm applauding everyone and everybody's hard work that's been going on. And like I said, Layla's tirelessly, been our great district leader and she has put a presentation together, what it will be on the back of the ballots. So I'm gonna go ahead and just hand it off to Layla.
Great. Thank you so much, Candice. And thank you to my co-leader, David Warren, who is behind the scenes also helping a lot. One just quick add on to Candice's great introduction is that we have our county committee organizational meeting that is coming up on Monday. If you are a member of county committee, you should have received a card in the mail and with all the details about the event. You should also have received an email or a phone call either from me or from David. If you haven't and you think you are on county committee, reach out to David or myself and we can confirm that and make sure that you attend. This meeting is really critical because this is where the county Democratic Party, of which obviously we are part and a member, elect their leadership, and quorum is actually really critical in order for us to conduct business. So it's actually also a good fun event where we get to see each other councilor and see other Democrats from all over the county, which, as you know, Manhattan is the county in our case. All right, so with all of that said, I see that Miriam, you have your hand up. We are planning to actually take questions at the end, but maybe you have a procedural question. So go ahead, Miriam.
This is just very quick. I heard that Zohar is petitioning in Chelsea on Sunday, but I don't know where, and I didn't know if anybody knew.
We don't have this information, but we'll look into
Okay.
it for sure. And Roberta, you have your hand up? You're on mute.
County committee is uptown and several people have said they're not sure where they're going. So I'm meeting Joanne in front of CVS on 14th and 8th Avenue at 5:30. And we'll go up as
Great.
a group. So if anybody wants buddies to go up with, join us at 5:30 at CVS and look at the
That-
wonderful ceiling at CVS. Did you know that it's a landmark building? I just read about it. It's sort of amazing. But anyway, if you get there early,
Terrific.
go in.
Thank you. And yes, it is a schlep. It is far, far away, but hopefully we'll still have a good attendance. All right, terrific. So let's jump right into the topic that we're going to cover tonight. Good evening. I'm Leila Logizico. I'm your district leader representing Assembly District 75 Part A. And I am actually the former chair of the local community board on which I served chairing the land use committee. So I've spent the last 20 years deep in the weeds of zoning, ULURP, environmental review, and all the good, complicated technical mechanisms that shape how our city grows. And tonight we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about ballot proposals. I'm going to go over all of them, but we're going to really go in depth on proposals 2, 3, and 4 that have to do with ULURP, zoning, land use, and the way the city grows. My goal tonight is very plain, to cut through the branding and explain in plain English what each change actually does, who gains power, who loses power, and how it will affect affordability, accountability, and neighborhood outcome. So this is how we're going to proceed. First, I'm going to give a quick primer on how land use decisions normally work under the current charter. And then we'll break down each proposal, what it changes, why it matters, and what are the practical consequences. I'll flag the key trade-offs, and I'll be clear when I think a proposal falls short. You can form your own opinion, obviously, but you've probably already heard a little bit that this raises a lot of concerns in terms of who is going to hold power on these very, very important decisions. So basic ground rules, please stay on mute, hold your questions until we reach the question period. Raise your hand to indicate that you want to speak. There will be time for questions at the end, and the stakes are really high. The text is dense. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not a easy read, but it is really an important one. And more importantly, your vote will have lasting effect on how New York City makes decisions. So it is really important that we are as educated as possible and we make the right choice on November 1st or as early as October 25th if you decide to vote early. So basically, when you will go to your polling site, you will be given a ballot, flip the ballot, and at the back, you will see the ballot proposals. Proposition 1 is a state ballot proposal. It is a ballot initiative that everybody in the state of New York will have on their ballot, and it basically proposes a constitutional amendment. And this constitutional amendment would authorize a tract of land, a pretty large tract of land in the Adirondacks to welcome a Olympics event. I don't ask me why it has to go through a constitutional amendment, but that's the way it works. And it will also create an additional preserve. So there will be sort of like trade-off We did reach out to folks in the Adirondacks who are stakeholders in this issue, and they're telling us that they like this proposal and they are encouraging voters to vote yes. I encourage you to do your independent research. We're not going to spend too much time. Obviously, it would not have an impact on us directly. It's not our neighborhood. Obviously, it's something important and significant, but we're going to focus on New York-centric proposals. Then proposals 2, 3, and 4 are the ones that are going to explore in depth, and I will get back to them and tell you what's in it. Proposals 5 and 6 have to do with codifying the city map and digitizing the map. And proposition 6 has to do with the electoral schedule and would propose to actually bundle and run all the elections on the same year. Currently, you have the state and congressional elections on an even year, and you have the city elections, mayor, controller, city council, on an odd year. I will not touch too much on this one. Maybe we can revisit that. Maybe we can have a little side session.
Layla, sorry to interrupt. Just want to confirm that this is being recorded because I got a text from someone to confirm.
Good question.
It's being recorded. It's being recorded.
It is being recorded. Yeah. Thank you, David. So very quickly on the last proposal, the benefits of running all the elections all at once is that it increases voter participation and it costs less money. The disadvantage of doing it this way is that all of a sudden you bury all the elections, high stake, low stakes, all at once, and it basically siphons all the resources, and all these races will end up cannibalizing each other. And it will give much less of an opportunity for smaller races to raise funds, smaller races to have more visibility and exposure because they will be entirely overshadowed by the bigger races. We're not going to touch too much on that. Basically, those are roughly the pros and the cons. As I said, we can, set aside a little session on that. I really want to focus on propositions 2, 3, and 4. And I have prepared a little deck that I would like to present. And here it is. Give me 1 second. Let me share my screen. And I believe that it is this one. Share. Can you see my screen? Okay.
Yeah.
See heads shaking. Thank you. And let me go to full screen. Okay. All right. Okay. So ballot question number 2 proposes 2 separate things. It proposes to fast track applications under certain circumstances, and it also proposes to put the 12 council districts, city community board districts that produce the lowest number of housing into a different approval process. So we're going to go over what it actually does, where the powers shift, why it weakens the democratic oversight, a couple of rebuttals to the pro arguments, and better ways to build faster without a power grab. So what does the question number 2 do at a glance? It would basically, as I said, create a fast track for any affordable projects that are publicly financed. So any project that receives funding from HPD or from a state agency or from the federal government would all of a sudden take a separate track. And what it means is that if it goes on this track, it would no longer follow the usual approval process, which is actually presented here on the top line. Currently, for a large project that requires environmental review, It first goes to the community board, then to the borough president, then the city planning commission takes a vote, and then it goes to the city council. And the city council takes the final vote. This final vote can be vetoed by the mayor, and the mayor has 5 days to veto. And then the mayoral veto can be overridden by the city council. But basically, the approval sits squarely with the city council. And the city council is the body that basically represents us. Our council member is the closest representative we have in the city. So what this process would do is that if you have a project that is publicly funded, it would no longer follow this process. Instead, it would go to another agency that is called the Board of Standards and Appeals. And it is made up of 9 members. They're all appointed by the mayor, and they would be the ones who would make the decision. Separate of that, so let's say with this one. So once again, if a housing project is publicly financed or funded, the BSA makes the final decision. The city council is no longer in the room at all. And this is regardless of the size or impact of the project. So to take an example, very close to home, if this ballot proposal were to pass, the Nightshire project of Fulton and Elliott Chelsea would no longer require ULURP in any circumstances. There would be no scenario where the project, regardless of its size, its density, its height, the shadows that it casts, and so on and so forth, would absolutely not be referred to this ULURP process. And therefore, the council member would no longer have a seat in these negotiations. It would entirely be in the hands of this body, the BSA, that is once again, entirely appointed by the mayor. Within this question, there is a second part to the question that this ballot proposal would do. If we vote yes, we would also authorize that for all the projects that are located in the lowest affordable housing producing districts in the community board districts, so those 12 would be singled out, and the projects, housing projects that are permanently affordable would take a different path. Once again, they would no longer go through ULURP. The city council member would be entirely severed from the decision process. Regardless of the project size, regardless of the project impact, it would go to the City Planning Commission, which is a body where the mayor has a majority of the appointees. So once again, in the end, it would be the mayor who would have the most power in the decision-making process. To take an example, if our community district falls under this category, and right now it doesn't, but let's pretend that it would, then a project like Hudson Yards could be approved without ULURP, and the council member would have no role and no leverage. So quick recap, currently the process gives an opportunity to the community board to issue an advisory, then the borough president to issue an advisory, the city planning commission holds a hearing and takes a vote, and then the binding vote is taken by the city council. Under this new process, the community board and borough president would still give an advisory recommendation, but basically they would have no negotiating power because they would talk to the authorizing and approval body that is entirely under the control of the mayor. It would be much faster, but it would entirely remove the city council from this process. So once again, the timeline, currently you can see that the community board, basically the approval process currently is roughly 7 months, and under this proposal it would be crunched to 90 days. So much faster for projects of much larger magnitude. And once again, the city council would have no role to play in this project. So where does the power shift? Very clearly, it would go to the City Planning Commission. The majority are appointed by the mayor, including the chair. It would go to the Board of Standards and Appeals, 9 commissioners, all appointed by the mayor. The city council role would be diminished in targeted districts. It would actually be entirely eliminated in the fast track process. And the net effect is, a big gain for the mayor and a huge loss for the city council member. Once again, it's really important to understand that the city council is the closest representative to our communities. The council member is our voice in these processes. So, why is it a power grab? It's pretty self-explanatory. It entirely eviscerates the city council's final say, which is our, direct democratic leverage. It centralizes the power in the hands of the mayor. It narrows accountability because we would have fewer opportunities for binding negotiations on affordability and mitigations. And it targets districts with the least production, which actually poses a really big problem in and of itself, because at times districts are actually low producers of affordable housing simply because they're already fully built. And if you want to make sure that you continue to produce new housing, then you take the risk of having to demolish existing housing just to build anew, so that you don't fall into this category. So it has some pretty nasty unintended consequences. So, we would lose council vote, enforceable commitments. It would be much harder to negotiate infrastructure tie-ins, such as transit or schools, open space. It would also eliminate an opportunity for labor protection. So, for example, in a residential building, during the ULURP process, community boards and the borough president are able to negotiate that a project would move forward, provided that the staff is union labor providing services for the building. And 32BJ has been a big supporter of these kinds of negotiations. Under this new framework, this would no longer be a possibility. There would be obviously less transparency in the negotiations. So, it's about speed, but it's actually a false choice. Speed and accountability are not mutually exclusive. If we think that there are issues with the process, we can fix the process and those bottlenecks. Quite frankly, ULURP is actually already very codified, where it's on a very specific clock and timeline. It cannot exceed those 7 months. And removing the council vote is not a process improvement. It's just a power consolidation in the hands of the mayor. And fast decisions doesn't mean that it is good decisions. At times, it's actually really bad decisions. And we know that because we've all experienced, whether in Chelsea or elsewhere in the city, these kinds of situations. The impact on underproducing districts actually targets communities that have already produced a lot of housing. We take the risk of this, one-size-fits-all approval that misses on affordability depth, comes with displacement risk, where there would be an incentive to actually demolish existing buildings just to create new housing, so that these districts would no longer be in this category. And it's also that no matter what you do, even if everybody is a huge producer of housing, you will always have a ranking and 12 districts that will be at the bottom, even if they are decent producers of affordable housing. So it's very punishing in and of itself. It comes with issues of equity and democratic accountability. So that is a good overview for the question 2 that will be on our ballot proposal. Maybe what we can do is that we can take questions at this juncture, if there are any questions. I don't want to overwhelm you with so much information. I know it's really technical, so maybe we can have a little bit of a back and forth on some questions, and then we can move to question number 3, and proposal number 3, and then proposal number 4. So let me stop sharing, and then you can use the raise hand function if you have any questions. I'll take 2 or 3 questions, and then we can move to the next proposal. And then at the end of these presentations, we'll have the robust discussion on these ballot measures. So you can use the raise hand function. Let me see. Alex, I see that you have your hand up. Go ahead with your question.
Thank you, Layla. I wish you kind of left the slides up, but that's okay. Like the slides that said criteria 1, criteria 2, that really threw me for a loop because I don't understand. Thank you.
Sure, I can put that back up. Let me see. Here we are. Hold on. Let me do share again. Hopefully it's still there. Share. Okay. All right. Are you able to see my screen again?
Yes.
Great. Let me go to full screen. Okay, so the question 2 is actually bifurcated. So it's actually 2 questions in one. So basically, if you vote yes, you will say that all the projects that are publicly financed go into a separate track. Okay, but you will also say that all the projects that are in the 12 lowest producing districts go on a separate track. Does that make sense, Alex?
Yes, and thank God for you because this is very sinister the way it's designed, I think. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's really, it is very punishing because no matter what, even if, all the districts in the city, the 59 districts are, high producers of affordable housing, you will always have the districts that are, lower than others. It's just, it's math. So, putting it this way is actually, very, very punishing. Any other questions? Let me see. I'm sorry. Roberta.
So I have 2 questions. Number 1, what is their definition of affordable? Well, you said these housing projects in the 12 lowest affordable housing producing districts.
Yes.
So what is the definition of affordable?
Yes. So they use the HUD definition of affordable, and affordable is a project that blended has produces housing that is set aside for families or individuals who are at 80% of the AMI.
80% of the AMI is
The area median income. This is the official federal definition, and I know what you're going to say, and I want you to say it so that you explain to everyone what it means for New York City.
80% of the AMI starts at an income of $90,000. That is $15,000 more than a starting teacher makes in New York City. It's more than a fire person makes. I'm sure more than a police person makes. So we're talking about $90,000 as a starting point, if I'm correct, because the last time I looked at the AMI, that 80% level was $90,000.
Yes, you are correct. And the AMI is calculated with, the worst possible metrics and the worst formula that basically bundles New York City, Nassau County, Westchester,
Suffolk
Rockland.
and Suffolk, I believe.
No, Suffolk is, they had the decency not to include Suffolk, but, they might as well. Once you have Westchester and Rockland, you may as well. But that basically creates this incredibly inflated median income, because you have parts of the state that are incredibly affluent in Westchester and Rockland, and therefore, what applies to, and it's for the entire city, meaning that it's not a different AMI for Chelsea or for the Upper West Side or Queens or the Bronx or Staten Island. It is the same through and through. So you can
So
imagine that, putting up a building where you can target 80% AMI that qualifies as affordable in Queens, you're basically over the average rental for the area.
So Layla, when they say it's publicly funded, I would think that that means it's either funded by some federal agency or a city agency or a state agency. Is that correct? Is there some way that a private developer could be involved with the funding so that it is still considered publicly financed, but has private development money in it?
Absolutely. So it is basically the latter that happens. And whether it is a for-profit developer or a non-for-profit developer, in the end, even the non-for-profit developers are tasked with, building buildings and, spreading the profits under a different framework. It's just that they pay themselves a higher salary rather than sharing the profits. But you're entirely correct in the sense that it would be built by a private developer, and it would use public funding, public finance. It could be funds that are coming from HPD. It could be funds that are coming from the state housing financing agency, or it could be funds that are coming from HUD. And all these projects would qualify for this fast track, where basically, you could build as tall and as big as you want. If you think that, the BSA is going to approve it, then you're good to go.
So it would bypass zoning, current zoning?
Yeah, that's the whole purpose. It's like if you're within current zoning, and maybe this is something that I should have mentioned, at the onset. If you are within the existing zoning, you don't need anything. You don't need ULURP. You don't need any discretionary review. If you are within the current zoning, you go to the Department of Buildings and they give you your permit, and that's it. And you go and you build your building. And it takes you like literally, I don't know, like 3 weeks for the Department of Buildings to, review your permit and issue it. So it is only for projects that are already, outside of the existing zoning that we're talking about. And right now we have ULURP, and basically we're told that ULURP, that, basically only concerns, I think, like 5% of the total, permits of, like stuff that is built in the city. So now even for that, even this process is deemed too stringent. And also, to put this in context, in other cities, 100% of your building applications have to go through some sort of a review process. In New York City, once again, it's only if you're outside of the zoning resolution that you need a special permit. Otherwise, no review, you're good to go. So, I think that the conclusion that we can reach on this one is that if we vote yes, we will give up basically all the community leverage and representation that we currently have. And it would be entirely gone. All right, and I see that Lydia has her hand up. Lydia.
Oh, I think that was an accident. I didn't mean to. I'm
Oh,
good.
okay.
I wait, I did want to say one thing that, it's interesting that if you look at the list of the 12 places that are producing the least housing, you see some odd things like the Upper West Side is on there. But you also see a lot of the areas that voted against City of Yes. And I think that's intentional.
Absolutely.
There's very
Absolutely.
punitive things in these documents.
Yeah. And you know what, once again, the Upper East Side and the Upper West Side are the two densest places in the country. They house the largest number of people because they are already incredibly densely built with very tall buildings, very dense buildings. So of course they cannot keep up with producing more because they've already built every, inch that was available. But with this formula, they would end up being punished, whereas they're already, serving the housing goal and purpose that we all embrace. All right, so moving on, let's go to the second ballot proposal, if that's okay. And let me, how do I do? I do stop sharing, and let me find my other document. Just give me 1 second. Okay. Are you able to, what? Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, let me go to full mode. Okay, all right. So ballot question number 3 would propose to simplify the review for smaller projects. So we're going to go over, what exactly does it create? And it creates something that is called ELURP. So it's not ULURP, it's ELURP. We'll go over what qualifies as a smaller project, where the power shifts and what the public loses, rebuttal to the pro arguments, and faster alternatives that keep checks and balances. So what is this ELURP proposal? Basically, it would be a new expedited land use review procedure, and it would apply for modest housing and minor infrastructure. The community board retains their 60-day advisory review. The city planning commission gets 30 days for a hearing and final vote, and there would be nothing more after that. So the city planning commission would be the final say in the process. The board president would still get to weigh in an advisory capacity. In some very specific cases, state law requires that the council still plays a role. So, there would be minor exceptions. The claim that the mayor's office makes with this proposal is that it would cut the review process time roughly in half. So let's see what counts as a smaller and modest project under ballot question number 3. So in medium and high density areas, which basically is us, low density area is, if you want to picture it, it would be, the detached houses in Queens or Staten Island. That's what qualifies as low density. So in Chelsea, we are medium and high density. We're actually mostly high density. And what this proposal would do is that it would allow for rezonings, enabling up to 30% more density to go through a different track. The city action would be provided that affordable housing is on public land would be eligible. And then if you do minor infrastructure, let's say that you raise the streets to prevent flooding, you create a new park, you install a solar panel on public property, then you would also be eligible. So once again, to take the project that really concerns us the most at the moment, the NYCHA project for full demolition and reconstruction, would actually qualify as modest for a variety of reasons. The first one is that just on its face, the project would actually bring roughly 30% additional density, and therefore it would meet the definition. It would also be affordable housing on public land. So, second reason why it meets the definition. And it would probably, create a new park, although it would take a lot of existing open space because it's like tear down and rebuild. There would be some new open space, and therefore, it would meet the criteria 3 times. So you can see how, this project that we know to be incredibly dense and, incredibly significant and would be altering Chelsea forever, would actually meet the definition of a smaller and modest project. So same thing, let's do a little comparison under ULURP, 7 month. Under ELURP, if question 3 passes, the community board retains its 60-day advisory. The City Planning Commission holds a hearing. They have the final say, final vote in 30 days. No city council review. And obviously a much shorter timeline. So, okay, so that gives you a sense of the process. Community board, and so the borough president would still have a say, but basically he or she would have to issue their recommendation concurrent with the community board. And then the City Planning Commission would have 30 days, and then that would be it. As you can see also, it's interesting that there is no veto possibility in these instances, whereas under ULURP you still have an ability for the mayor to veto and the city council to override. So here it would be final say with the City Planning Commission. So where does the power shift? Final authority moves from the city council, which is elected, to the City Planning Commission, which is majority appointed by the mayor. The community board retains a voice, but no leverage. The borough president role remains advisory and no leverage. And on the net evaluation, the mayoral appointees hold the decisive power over rezonings that are labeled as modest. And I also want to emphasize that when we talk about rezonings, we're not talking about just like one building or one site. It would be for, a whole block or a series of blocks. So it has the ability to, really spread and impact, large swath of a district. So why is it a problem? I think it's pretty obvious. The democratic oversight is weakened. The city council's binding is entirely eliminated for a broad new category. 30% FAR floor area ratio, which is the density, how much denser, not necessarily taller, but denser, which usually comes with, additional height. Is actually very substantial. It's actually not modest. And, these buildings have real cumulative impacts, a reduced leverage to secure, a better outcome, deeper affordability, anti-displacement, infrastructure commitments. So we would no longer be able, and, the council member would no longer be able to negotiate for, a better outcome. It centralizes the power into the hands of the mayor, and it entirely eliminates local accountability. So as we said, modest is actually very different from minor. It has real world impacts. The cumulative change, if you are applying that to many buildings, you end up with a massive impact. You could create like corridors that would be, much taller and much denser. The one size approval is also a problem. Putting everything through the City Planning Commission gives fewer chances to tailor, the affordability in each district. It obviously erodes the public trust. And it's also an issue of equity where communities with fewer resources would lose the city council backstop that often wins them the protections that they need. So for all these reasons, similar to proposition number 2, it would really concentrate the power into the hands of the mayor and would tremendously reduce the voices of the community in the district's outcome of our growth. So same thing, I'm going to stop here. I'm going to stop sharing and take a couple of questions. And then we can go to proposition number 4, and then we can have a more robust, all-encompassing conversation. Roberta, go ahead.
Who's pushing for this? Who brought this forward and who's behind this?
Great question. So the Charter Revision Commission was appointed by the mayor, and it is chaired by and made up of commissioners. Lots of them are from the City Planning Commission and the Department of City Planning, and a large number of them are members of Open New York. The Open New York, along with the current chair of NYCHA, Jimmy Rubin, have set up a super PAC, and they have allocated $3 million to support these ballot proposals. This is where it's coming from. Any other questions? David.
Is it a conflict of interest for the chair of NYCHA to be part of a super PAC that would affect this?
I will not answer this question, but if you're so inclined to reach out to the Conflict of Interest Board, you can ask them. It's certainly, yeah, I will leave it at that. Lydia.
Yeah, this is more of a comment. I just want to say we all need to notice how clever they've been in their language and what's going on the ballot. And that's why we have to really spread the word. I mean, come on, ULURP, that's a bit of genius. Everybody thinks things need to be expedited. And I really think that a lot of New Yorkers are going to fall for that. It's going to be pitched as better governance. And we have to remind everybody it's a power grab from an unscrupulous mayor, who's trying to consolidate. And we know what that looks like in Washington, and it's looking the same here. So everybody get your talking points together because we have a real uphill battle here. They've been very clever about what's going on the ballot.
Yeah, spot on. Roberta, you have your hand up
So
again.
what groups are coalescing to combat this, and how do we join with them?
Yeah. So very quickly on that, and then that can be really the core of our discussion after we're done with the next ballot measure. So CRDC has actually spearheaded a coalition with partners in New York County, i.e., in Manhattan. And we've been actually really successful in getting other communities, including the West Village, East Side, including Lexington Democrats, Tilden, who are really eager to join. But in addition to that, and we are starting to think about how we can deploy a campaign put together a palm card, do a mailer. But in addition to that, the city council, which is, really the counterpower to the mayor, the check to the balance, is actually finally organizing and putting together a campaign against these proposals, which I will speak on that once we're done with the last ballot measure. Once again, I just want to quickly go over it so that you guys have a good sense of what it will do. But then we can talk about how we organize and what resources we allocate, and we can talk about strategies. So let me go back to the final proposal. So hold on, give me 1 second. Let me actually close this. And let me share. And I believe this is this one. Nope. Sorry about that. That's not the one I want. I want this one. And not again, no. I'm so sorry about that. Okay, let's try again. Thank you for your patience. Okay, all right. So let me go to full screen. Okay, so this is ballot question number 4, and this one is slightly different. So we're going to go through what it does, who sits on this new appeals board, and how the process changes, where the power shifts, rebuttals to the pro arguments, and better alternatives. And then we'll go to call to action. So what does this proposal do? It would create a 3-member affordable housing appeals board. And it would be made up of the borough president of the affected borough, the speaker of the city council, and the mayor. The board would be able to reverse the city council rejection or modifications of applications that create affordable housing with any 2 of 3 votes. It would replace the mayor's current veto on these items. And ULURP would otherwise remain, but it would add this new override layer after the council votes. So we've gone through that already. Actually, if we look at it as a chart, maybe it's a little easier. Hopefully you can all see that. Basically, at the end of the process, once the city council has voted on a project that miraculously didn't meet any of the other definitions, so it was still ULURP and still with the city council in charge of final say. So let's say that, they make some modifications to a project that has affordable housing. Then there would be a new affordable housing appeal board that could basically override the decision of the city council. It would be made up of the mayor, the council speaker, and the local borough president. But in this process, the city council member representing the district where the project would happen would no longer have a say, or anybody else for that matter. So it would go, the power shift would go from the district elected council member to a small citywide political board. The speaker holds a citywide political role, the mayor is citywide, and the borough president is borough-wide. And together they can override, the local council decision. The local council members' binding leverage is entirely diluted after the council vote, and it creates the opportunity for backroom, late-stage bargaining risk that grows as the board is totally as the board is insulated from voters' direct district pressure. Why it's a problem? I think it's once again, self-explanatory. It undermines the council's final say, which is our most direct democratic lever. It creates a second bite out of the apple for politically connected applicants. It invites forum shopping. So you lose at the council, but then you lobby a 3-person board. So you could almost like deliberately come up with something that is so outrageous that the council is going to turn you down, so that you have a better shot at something that is still pretty nefarious, but it will be approved by these 3 individuals. It adds post-council uncertainty and delay despite the promise of more voices, and it concentrates power in the hands of 2 citywide officials and 1 borough-wide official, cutting the community's voice out of the process. So, we lose without a final council word. The binding leverage to secure a better deal, more affordability, anti-displacement, and so on and so forth. It is much less transparent. Obviously, the negotiations would be behind closed doors and would not be at all transparent. It also takes away the predictability for projects and for communities that would face a new layer of appeal after a supposed endpoint. So this would shape the outcome of what basically would remain as ULURP, as being less predictable. Like, even if you were to stay in this path that we're already not pretty big fans of ULURP, but even with ULURP, you would take the risk that the decision would be made not by your council member, not by someone that you elect based on the policy that they favor, but by a group of 3 people who would be giving to pressure from applicants. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. And I would like to just frame the conversation for us a little bit before we go to questions. So as I said, these measures were introduced by a mayoral charter revision commission. The way our charter gets revised is actually through a vote, so that's why it's on the ballot. The mayor cannot change the charter of its own volition. And the way the questions have been phrased is actually very, very clever, as Lydia underscores. If you don't know that this is really nefarious, you would likely vote yes, because the language sounds so innocuous. It's modest proposal, affordable housing. They use all the buzzwords, but in reality, it would really, really alter the way New York grows and gets built. The members of the city council have been vocal, including the speaker. The majority of them are not happy because obviously, it would tremendously reduce their power. They actually tried to get those ballot proposals taken off the ballot. They failed. And now they have launched a campaign. They have created a website, which, let me see if I can bring it up and share it with you. Let me see. Hopefully it's going to work. Bear with me. Okay. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. So this is the website that was created by the City Council. Learn the truth about proposals on your 2025 ballot. And it's nicely done. It goes over all the proposals, including proposal 1, which has to do with this Adirondacks thing. But it gives a description, and then it explains why this is a problem. And it puts it very bluntly. Your power could be taken away by Mayor Adams' misleading ballot proposals 2, 3, and 4, giving away your community's power to developers who will lead to housing that is less affordable, for our neighborhoods. And then it goes into, what it would do, why this matters. So what I propose is that in the recap of this meeting, and with the link to the replay of the video, I will make sure to include this link so you have it, and you can sign up and learn more about that. As we said, early voting begins October 25th. Election day is November 4th. And it is really important to start actively campaigning for a no on these ballot proposals, so that we can block it. So I'll stop talking at this juncture, and we can go to questions, and we can, maybe share some comments if you have any thoughts on what your thoughts are on these ballot measures and how to approach them. Any thoughts or questions? Jerry.
Thanks. This was really concise and very informative. So thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you. I know it's dense and technical, and but it's just so important. Roberta, you have your hand up again. Go ahead.
I didn't get the website for the city council.
So let me tell you. Hold on. I will make sure to add the link in the email that I send from CRDC for the recap.
So
it's what's on my ballot.nyc.
okay, what's on my
ballot.nyc.
Okay, so I have another question. We're gonna reach out to the other groups that we're connected to in Manhattan. But okay, so I want to say one thing, and don't beat me up. Don't yell. One of the people who was the loudest against the city of Yes was a Republican from Queens, Vicky Palladino, who saw what this city of Yes was going to do in her borough. So I'm wondering if we shouldn't be reaching out to the other boroughs. I mean, I can't imagine that people in the Bronx or Queens would like this. And I think to reach out, whether they are Republicans or Democrats, if they are against this, we should be together.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree. So what we have done is that, we have reached out to the Manhattan Club just simply because we have an existing relationship with them. And, the response has been very positive, with clubs, with student groups, actually political organizations that are, part of, campus groups. So we're reaching out, at different levels. We are very, very heartened to see that, the city council themselves, who has, obviously much more resources, is also organizing and spearheading that. And then, hopefully we are going to be able to create a broader coalition. And, indeed with partners, regardless of their political affiliation. I think that, this is totally a bipartisan issue. And listen, a power grab is a power grab, and regardless of what your political color is, it sucks. So yeah.
Do we have anything to hand out at county committee on Monday?
I don't know that we'll have something on Monday, but we have the district leader for the West Village is actually working on a palm card. Who knows? Maybe she will have something ready. We are actually getting in touch with the city council to figure out if they have anything ready already. But I think the question for us is also to start talking about allocation of resources because, I mean, listen, if the city council is able to, bankroll this entire campaign and, pay for the palm cards, it's great. But if they don't, I think that we really, really need to put our money where our mouths are, and we need to print palm cards. And I would also suggest that CRDC does a mailer so that, before people go to the polling sites, making sure that, they have received something in writing that tells them, vote no on these proposals.
Is there anybody in the city council who is for this, who is backing this?
Some council members have been pretty tepid in their response. And, some of them have been absolutely vociferous, saying that it's absolutely unacceptable. And actually, the speaker has been very, very forceful. She's absolutely against it. Other council members have been a little bit more timid.
Where is our city council member?
I don't want to speak for him, so I won't. But yeah, I will leave it at that.
I'll send them a question.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to see where he stands. All right, John Mudd. John, good to see you.
Hi, you too. Excellent, Leila. This is great. A lot of detail work so quickly too. My hat's always off to you.
Thank you. We try.
You do. You do. You do more than try. By the way, there's a lawsuit that's going to be filed in a few days. And it's the same folks who was on the City of Yes lawsuit, which hasn't been closed out yet. The judge is looking at the City of Yes lawsuit and taking a very diligent look at it. But the same folks are going to be signing on to a lawsuit on this ballot measure, and I think it's going to nullify this ballot measure on a technicality. And if anybody wants to get on that lawsuit, join that lawsuit, Jack Lester is the attorney. I can put you in touch and have you join, connect you with the folks. And I think they're looking for more people. The more, the better.
Great. Yeah, it's if you can share more information about the case and for folks or groups, maybe it's a block association or a tenant group that may want to join. Yeah, send me the information and I will make sure that we disseminate. Thank you, John. Thank you so much, and thank you for all you do. It's talk about someone who does a lot. Thank you. Anita, you have your hand up.
Hi, everybody. Thank you. Thanks for having this meeting and for all the information. My thoughts are just the information and the issues are really, to me, not purely a partisan issue. It's not a democratic. I think that whenever there's legalese or language or kind of deceitful, cunning, not straightforward language on these kinds of issues that have such important impacts, even though this is CRDC and trying to empower with other groups maybe that have similar, I think the way to get other people is to break the language down and not have it be purely from a democratic, that this is a democratic issue, because right now, honestly, a lot of our representatives are not looking, not in everybody's, people have lost a lot of faith in our particular representatives or the speaker or, not everybody, but there's many who have, and then there's all these politicians who have crossed lines and not running or standing for certain parties. But these issues, I think, are, if people really understand it the way it's in language, in their own language, multi-language, but also in language that's understandable, to say the impacts of this language is not straightforward. And so, and that this is, we're trying to teach, but not from a democratic, because we need it and it's us against them, because I don't think that's what this is. I think somebody who's strictly for anything City of Yes, and I want all of this. They may not want to read or learn more, but
Yeah.
somehow to get it, if we do palm cards or I don't know if I can make myself more articulate, but I just feel like the impact can be really, it's like I was amazed when I had friends, I was just trying to have the conversations about voting yes for Prop 1. And the so many people were like, no, this is not going to do XYZ, or, and I don't want to go down the same road.
Yeah, yeah. No, there is definitely, need for education, which is why I think that, partnering with block associations, with, tenant associations and, groups that are outside of the sort of like bipartisan framework is also going to be really, really important.
I
Yeah,
know I got an
absolutely.
email from Village Preservation, so I know that's one group
Yeah,
that's.
they're absolutely working on that, and other civic organizations, and yeah, absolutely. And listen, it's going to take all the help and energy and web of organizing that we can tap into, because the super PAC that is supporting these proposals is going to be very, very well organized. Thank you, Anita. Lydia, you have your hand up. Lydia, we can't hear
I'm
you.
sorry, I didn't hear you say my name. You cut out. Yeah, I just want to connect a few things with this. I don't know if all of you have seen CB4's final letter about the NYCHA project. If you haven't, you should read it. It's kind of an amazing letter, and it shows the importance of community members showing up and speaking truth, and tenants who are going to be directly affected showing up and speaking truth. And it shows the appropriate process and roles that a community board can play, even in light of resistance from our elected representatives. And so, for years now, we've had this idea of NIMBY weaponized against communities who do care about affordable housing, who do care about quality of life issues. And yet, in this rush to the, so-called abundance agenda in open New York, we're being vilified. And these proposals are another example of that. It is all connected. Taking away community voices, as far as I'm concerned, does not improve anything. We need we need checks and balances. We certainly need checks on the power of our mayor. You know, um, our community has built a lot of affordable housing and will continue to do so. And we have to be very careful that we don't let this new discourse that seems to be so ascendant right now run right through real democratic processes, because that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute. I absolutely agree, Lydia. Thank you for this comment. And going to Alan. Alan, go ahead.
Thank you. And thank you for that very, very well put together presentation. Something needs really to be done somewhere along the line on this whole housing process. I would like to see city council step up and come up with some proposal, some sort of process to at least speed it up in some way, make it a little bit easier. But I don't know if city council really has the ambition to do that. An interesting thing happened today. I don't know if anybody caught it, just as an aside. The city council actually overrode a member up in the Bronx on a supportive housing project. So it may be broadcast that the council itself wants to make some changes in how the whole city works to try to bring more supportive housing, more affordable housing. So an interesting piece of work by the city council today on that. So, but
Yeah.
thank you again. Thank you. Very,
Yeah, thank
very,
you.
very well done. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. And listen, the current process allows for the mayor to veto and allows for the city council to overturn the veto. But furthermore, there's also this idea, this notion of council member deference, and I'm sure you've heard that. And basically, the way the council works is that if a project is located in Chelsea, the council members from outside of Manhattan or even in Manhattan, but far away, will basically defer to their colleague who represents the particular district and will basically say, it's your turf. Your constituents, you know what they want, and you should support them. And therefore, if you want to vote in favor of a project, we'll vote with you. And if you want to vote against it, we'll vote with you. We'll give you deference. And this is something that is an argument used to justify these ballot proposals. But what is important to understand is that the deference is not something that is codified. It is just the practice because, it sort of makes sense to let the council member who represents a particular district call the shots on what is going on in his district. But there has been many instances where, a council member did not receive deference. And, as Alan was underscoring, it happens that, at times a council member will be overridden or, the city council as a whole will decide that, the decision was not a good decision. So, these are things that are important to address, but I think there are already processes that actually allow for that, and these ballot proposals would just create, an additional. Let me see, Alex. I see that you have your hand up.
Oh, thank you. About the local member deference, the press has been oversimplifying all of these ballot proposals onto that one issue. It makes it seem like that's the only thing on the chopping block. And I do apologize to John Mudd because I kind of sent him a private one-on-one that was like, oh no, member deference is the only thing that's on the chopping block. And now, to my shock and horror, after seeing your presentation, this is worse than I thought. So, but the press, I think, is complicit too because they might be being paid by the super PAC. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. And I will certainly say that the articles that we have seen thus far seem to put a positive spin on these ballot proposals, which I agree is really, it's unfortunate and maybe even problematic. Roberta, you have your hand up.
Oh, I forgot to take it down. Sorry.
No worries. We always love to
I
hear.
was just looking at what happened today. It's a very interesting article about in the Bronx where they overrode that. Thanks, Alan. That was very interesting. But I think if we coalesce together and we get our friends, everybody's got to reach out. Nobody can sit this one out. It's as important as voting. I mean, this is as important as anything else. And I think we've got to smack these guys down every time they raise their stupid heads. We got to smack them down.
Yeah. So I think that the big takeaway is A, flip your ballot, make sure that you vote. B, vote no on these proposals. Some folks have suggested, just to make it easier, just vote no on everything. And I'm sure that the folks from the Adirondacks will have enough votes elsewhere in the state, and that's not going to hurt them if they think it's great. And then it's going to be a matter of deciding what CRDC, what do we want to do? Do we want to invest? And I would posit that we should. This will be a decision for the executive committee to make and to look at how we can partner with others. Once again, let's hope that the city council is able to bankroll the campaign, so we don't have to tap into our own funds. But it seems like a good use of our resources.
Well, we can use Facebook. I already posted some of this on Facebook. I think that I reached out to my friends in the Adirondacks, asking them what their take is on this and how should we vote here in the city. they hate us upstate because why are we voting on this? It's their thing. So,
Well,
I-
it's in the Constitution. Once again, don't ask me why it's on in the state constitution, but it is. I see that Anita has her hand up. Yes, Anita.
Yeah. I have to just take issue. I think that some of that is if we turn a blind eye to issues elsewhere, that it doesn't necessarily serve. And the reason that it's there is because there's enough attack on preserving and keeping forever wild, wild. It's in the Constitution for a reason in New York State and the Adirondacks. And that is why there are very strong laws. But as we know, this administration and other powers are decimating all of our laws that we have to protect, and they're selling off our lands and doing everything. And so it's in the state constitution that there can't be any alterations unless it goes through this process and New York state voters vote. So I wouldn't want people.
Maybe we should vote no because it would
No,
definitely.
that's not what I'm suggesting at all. I think the suggestion is to learn more about it.
Yeah.
And the reason why most of the Adirondack Council is for it, but to educate ourselves, which was your first point, but to turn a blind eye and say, it doesn't matter, that to me, I know taking it to another level, it means, well, whatever was going on in Europe, it doesn't bother us, so we shouldn't pay attention.
I don't think anybody
Whatever's
said
happening
that.
to my neighbor shouldn't pay attention, but
Very-
this is our
very important.
protecting our environment and preserving forever wild. And it was created and established in the New York State Constitution for a reason, and to try to prevent that from being decimated. So it's part of.
We'll do more research on Prop 1. Once again,
Personally, I'm for
we
yes.
have reached out to folks who represent environmental groups, and they indicated that they support it. We're going to continue to do our due diligence, and certainly we don't want to give inaccurate recommendations to voters and uninformed recommendations. Yeah, for sure. So let me see. I actually see that we have folks on the call that I identify as Zoom user. Can you actually identify yourself and change your name? Zoom user, I'm going to ask you to unmute. Can you actually tell us who you are? And then there is iPhone. Can you please identify yourself, iPhone?
I think isn't iPhone, I thought it was Lydia.
This is Doug. I'm a friend of Sandy Rayburn's.
Oh,
Are you hearing me?
Yes,
Yep.
we are. And you
Okay.
are you
I'm
iPhone?
Sorry?
How are you identified on the Zoom call as a participant?
Oh,
Oh yeah, I see you
Your
as
iPhone.
well. Yeah. Okay. And what is your name, sir?
Doug Bube. I'm a long-term Fort Greene resident and friend of Sandy Rayburn and
Fantastic.
others.
Thank
And
you so much.
that's how I heard about this. Sandy said that she has another obligation for Zoom, so I happen to have an evening that I could do this. So I'm very happy to hear the
Great.
clarifications.
Terrific. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us,
Oh,
Brooklyn.
it was excellent.
Thank you.
I
Thanks.
don't know who Zoom user is.
And who is Zoom user? Zoom user, can you please tell us who you are? Zoom user is on mute. I'm actually asking Zoom user to unmute.
While we're doing that, I just wanted to ask Anita specifically if she had any contacts in the area who could fill us in with how the people, if there's any groups we should contact up there specifically, since you're familiar with the area. Are there any groups we could contact up in the Adirondacks? I have some friends up there, but if you have some contacts, that would be great.
Oh, it looks like Zoom user has unmuted. Hello, Zoom user.
Hi, this is Alicia Martinez. How you doing?
Hi, thank you so much for joining. Thank you. We're glad that you're with us tonight.
You're working. Thank you.
Thank you. Anita, any thoughts on Roberta's question?
I haven't had personal conversations. I'm hoping to get upstate for a while. But for myself, I just, after getting the alert about the ballot proposals in the email from Village Preservation just yesterday, I started my own education. I am a member of Adirondack Council. I get their mailings, but I didn't receive anything from them. But my own Google researching, I came up and read something said click here. So I opened a whole actual, I guess, the legal document. So it's all in there. And then Adirondack Council has information posted on their site and explains everything. So those are two things for myself. I haven't yet.
And is Adirondack Council taking a position? Are they recommending to vote yes, no, or are they not giving any recommendation?
From what I gleaned, I was able to make my decision, but I don't want to. I'd rather people go on and read for themselves. I believe it's there, but the information explaining everything is there. I believe, there's explanation why people are in favor of it. There's local articles or whatever I Googled, and I was able to make my decision because I am familiar with the area, but to get a better understanding. But knowing that it's based in the fact that the importance of why it's in this Constitution as an amendment has to go through this process was important to me.
Great. Excellent. Thank you so much, Anita.
I learn anything else, I'll share.
Great. Terrific. We appreciate it. Lydia, you are.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention if anybody is interested, I'm holding an event for Council Member Chris Marte. We know he's done incredible work with No More 24, and he's a champion on the city council, and he's running for city council president. And I think in light of what John Mudd likes to say, we're under attack, that it's really important that we support his candidacy for head of the city council. So just making everybody aware of that.
Thank you so much, Lydia, for sharing. And we will find a way to circulate a link to this event. Hopefully you can make it, you can join. It will be a wonderful social event. It will be wonderful to get together. The council member will be in attendance, of course. He is running a very, very strong race to become the speaker of the city council. He has actually a whole platform on what kind of a speaker he would be. And he would be the kind of speaker that, quite frankly, every speaker should be, where council members would have the ability to actually effectuate change and pass legislation that really matters to their districts. Currently, the speaker is the person who decides which bills see the light of day and which remains buried, which is why, for example, a bill that is kind of a no-brainer, the No More 24 bill that would basically make it illegal to force home care attendants to work for 24 hours straight and be paid only 13 hours. Yes, that's how currently New York City operates. This bill would repeal this practice. The bill has never even received so much as a hearing. So really hope that we can mobilize Chelsea. Councilmember Marte has been a champion of many issues that affect our community, including, as you know, Intro 1096, the bill that would make it, would prohibit the privatization of Medicare and the shift of municipal retirees under the Medicare Advantage, which is a very, very important issue for residents of Chelsea. All right, we are almost at the 8 p.m. mark, so it's been an hour and a half that we've been discussing all these great issues. I see that there's one more hand that went up. I'll take that question and then maybe we can wrap this up. Once again, David and I are available to answer any questions. So, by all means, if you want to reach out and have conversations after this meeting, we're around to answer any questions. And the hand went back up. Wendy, go ahead. Wendy, you're on mute.
trying to unmute. I just wanted to say thank you for a lot of very interesting information, a lot of things I wasn't aware of. It was really well pointed out and presented, and I just wanted to say thanks.
Oh, thank you so much, Wendy. Thank you. And I have to say, I really appreciate all the great engagement, your participation. If you live in large buildings, tell all your neighbors, knock on their doors. If you live in small buildings, go next door and not knock on the building next door. We really need to spread the word. Actually, Chelsea is really good with that. So we count on your help to actually, do this work. Jerry, I see that you have your hand up.
Miriam had raised a question in the beginning. Might she want to speak now, Miriam? I don't know if she's looks like she's still with us. Miriam, did you want to speak? Maybe she's left. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And Miriam, if you want to address anything, I'm always around and available, so don't hesitate. Lydia, I see that you have your hand up. I don't know if it's a remnant of your previous comment.
Yes, sorry, I put it down.
No worries. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much.
Just a quick question. I'm sorry to interrupt. What was the
Yes.
name? Was it John? I didn't catch John's last name. You were saying was going to be a very good speaker? Did I miss?
Marte, Christopher Marte.
Oh, Christopher Marte, council member for Council District Number 1.
Christopher Mart. How do you spell his last name?
Marte.
Great. Thank you so much.
He has been a champion of historic preservation, housing growth, demonstrating squarely that one is not,
independent of the other.
The other, and he's been a champion for his constituents, and I think he would be a great speaker to meet the moment.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. All right, thank you guys so much. No need for big wrap-ups. You know where to find us. Election day is around the corner, less than 6 weeks. We will be in touch with you guys to organize, canvas, and get out the vote as we get closer to the vote. And with all of that said, I wish you all a very, very good night. And
Yes.
I hope to see you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Layla.
Great presentation. Thank you, Layla.
Yeah.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Bye.